Anthony Blinken says he can't confirm that US munitions were used in that attack. Our data analysis team says that they have evidence that they almost certainly were. A weapons expert says it was American munitions supplied and made by Boeing. Will you confirm that?
Thank you for having me on, Mark. I've got no idea.
Sorry, you've got no idea?
I've got no idea of the provenance of the weapon used.
Hang on, you're one of the most advanced militaries in the world, and you are telling me that you can't tell me what the munition was and where it came from?
Mark, if you would have asked me before I came on for the provenance of the weapon we used to kill, to eliminate two of these Hamas terrorists, then I would have come with that information. But an experienced journalist like yourself, I find it a little bit silly that you're trying to blindside me, asking me where the weapon that we used to kill these terrorists was made. I don't have that information. I would have that information.
Well, I'm surprised that you're surprised. I'm surprised that you're surprised because your IDF colleague was able to say that this munition that was used was the smallest munition that was able to be fired from a jet. So he knows what sort of munition it was. I'm just asking you, because Anthony Blinken was asked about this, why you can't confirm that these were American munitions. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, well, once again, Mark, it's a bit of a ridiculous question. I've been in communications for, I think, 40 years. I've never heard this line of questioning. I would have had the information if you would have asked it for me. I would have gone to find out who was the manufacturer of the weapon which we used to kill the terrorist. But I don't have that information. And the fact that you're making a fuss about the provenance, where this information, where the weapon was from, is slightly ridiculous. I can tell you why we fired the weapon and what the outcome was, if you want me to.
Well, let me just put this one to rest here. The reason I'm asking is that because it has become an issue in Washington. Anthony Blinken has been asked about it and says he doesn't know. And the question about it is whether, if it is US weapons that are being used for an attack that clearly went wrong for whatever reason, would that then cross President Biden's red line? That's the issue.
So let me tell you what the preliminary investigation to this attack told us. Yesterday afternoon, the Army released it, and what it said was that we took all the precautions necessary to make sure that no civilians were harmed. But our investigation has found out that the smallest munition in our armory, a 17-kilogram explosive that went on a jet, which fired two of them, which went after these two terrorists. Don't forget, these were terrorists whose hands, unfortunately, were drenched with blood, not only with Israelis, but with Brits as well. You remember the case of Lucy D and her two daughters who were killed in the Jordan Valley almost exactly a year ago. I think perhaps you were here for that occurrence. Unfortunately, due to secondary explosions, most likely caused by a Hamas arms dump in that area, very, very close to our strike. That's what happened. This Hamas arms dump, let's be honest about it. The Hamas arms dump was designed to kill me, my people here in Israel, or anyone who happened to be a target of Hamas. Unfortunately, there were civilian casualties, but which we're all extremely, we feel is a tragic occurrence. But it's not
when will your inquiry?
No,
I get your point. I get your point. When will the inquiry be made public? The results of the inquiry be made public, do you think?
The initial results were made clear yesterday, which was extremely swift. My understanding, and again, you probably need to speak to someone from Israel's IDF to give you the precise answer, but the answer will come swiftly, and it will be transparent, and in the same way that when we've made mistakes in this war, which of course, this is not a war that we wanted, a war that we asked for, but when we have made mistakes, we have held our hands up. But in this case, What it looks like has happened is that in a Hamas arms dump caught fire. It caused a huge fire that was backed up by telephone calls we intercepted from Hamas, and they pretty much confirmed that fact. So I expect it to be coming out very, very shortly within a number of days.
Okay. Yesterday on this programme, the former Prime Minister Ehud Olmert said there should be an end to the fighting now. He called it a stalled war. He said we should get the hostages out and that after that, Benjamin Netanyahu should go. I just wonder what your reaction is to that. Why would that be a bad idea?
So we are, of course, a vibrant democracy, and even within Israel's war cabinet, you don't need to go to former prime ministers to hear dissenting views and people airing their views. It's a national characteristic here in Israel for people to say how they feel. People don't hold things up here. They say how they feel, maybe a little bit too much. But, you shouldn't be taken in by that point of view, because I can tell you that here on the ground amongst Israel's people, there is, I think, maybe 80% support for the war objectives, which are, of course, to destroy Hamas, to bring our hostages home, 125 people still held by Hamas unjustly, some of them being killed, but many of them are alive, and, of course, to ensure that Hamas never again.
Is there support for the war to go on another 7 months, which your national security advisor has said today that he thinks the war is going to go on at least through 2024? Is there support in Israel for that?
So, as I said, there is support for getting rid of Hamas, and the reason why there is support is because the point which most people in the UK don't quite get, or any of your international audiences, is that this is a fight for our very survival. The Hamas terrorist army, which invaded our borders on October the 7th, what people don't quite understand is they meant to destroy this country. It's only because certain things happened that they didn't manage to do it. And the point, which is the most important point here, is that Hamas want to do it again, which means we can't leave them standing. So I would say, in answer to your question, there is wall to wall for that support for getting rid of Hamas. Israelis refuse to live next door to this genocidal organization. We want to get rid of them so that we can get back to peace. We can get back to building peaceful relations with all the countries in our neighborhood.
Okay, David Mencer, appreciate your time. Thank you very much.